Have you ever watched someone just smiling so hard, like literally radiating pure joy, and then suddenly, boom, the tears start streaming down their face? We kind of jokingly call it the ugly cry, right? But it's actually one of the most beautiful contradictions in human life. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack exactly why this happens. Because let's be honest, it is a fascinating paradox. It feels totally counterintuitive, but as we're going to see, crying when you're happy isn't some glitch in your system. It's a deeply human, profoundly healthy response. You're not broken when you cry from joy. Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. It's a sign you're wonderfully, complexly alive.
Okay, let's dive into this. Wait, why are they crying if they're happy? For most of our lives, we're taught a super simple equation, aren't we? Tears equal pain, loss, fear, or sadness. We automatically associate crying with something going wrong. So when someone is experiencing the exact opposite, just a moment of profound goodness, and they burst into tears, our immediate reaction is to think, wait, what? Why are they crying if they're so happy? Today, we're framing this paradox as a mystery to solve. You see, happiness isn't always just a light mood or an easy laugh. Real happiness can be intense, it can be startling, and physically overwhelming. It can hit your nervous system like a massive wave, and we're going to look at exactly how your body handles that wave. To solve this mystery, we really have to understand a psychological concept called integration. You see, the human body isn't just a machine with one simple button for each feeling. Emotions overlap. They collide. In a single moment, you can feel joy right beside fear, relief sitting next to disbelief, and gratitude just completely mingling with sheer vulnerability. When all those feelings arrive at your doorstep at the exact same time, your body has to do something with them. So crying when you're happy isn't emotional confusion, it's integration. It's your body actively trying to process a massive flood of meaning all at once. Your mind has understood the incredible news, sure, but your body, it's still catching up. Those tears are literally the physical process of that integration happening in real time. Now, what's really interesting about this is that we can actually group the catalysts for happy tears into 4 main buckets: relief, love, gratitude, and surprise. These are the powerful emotional forces that act as the tipping point, taking an experience from a simple smile to a full, physically overwhelming, and sometimes beautifully awkward, tearful reaction. Let's break each one of these down, because I can absolutely guarantee you've experienced at least one of these in your own life. Let's start with relief. Relief is arguably one of the most powerful emotional triggers we have. And honestly, it frequently gets mistaken for simple happiness. Picture this. You've been carrying a heavy fear for weeks. Maybe you've been anxiously waiting for medical test results, bracing yourself every single time your phone rings. Then the doctor finally calls and says those magic words. You're okay. In that exact fraction of a second, the tension that has literally lived inside your muscles, your chest, your mind, it suddenly collapses. The tears that pour out aren't just happiness. They're the explosive release of pressure after a long, exhausting hold. The tears belong to the ending of the fear just as much as they belong to the beginning of the joy. Then we have love. Love makes us wildly vulnerable. When a child runs excitedly into your arms or a partner surprises you with genuine care, love just totally bypasses your protective layers. It reminds us that deep connection matters way more than pride or control. And crying is almost like your heart speaking way too loudly for your mouth to handle. And then there's gratitude. Gratitude is a quieter force, sure, but when it grows large enough, it demands a tearful reverence. When someone shows you an ordinary kindness at the exact moment you felt like giving up, it completely changes the shape of your experience. The tears happen because the moment just shines too brightly to be handled casually. Our third major trigger is surprise. Your brain is essentially a giant prediction machine. It's constantly guessing what's going to happen next. So what happens when life suddenly gives you something drastically better than what you expected? Imagine walking into a room expecting a painful rejection and instead you're met with total acceptance, or you expect profound loneliness and you instantly find a real sense of belonging. That sudden reversal creates a massive gap between your brain's prediction and your new reality. That emotional overflow you feel, that's actually your brain urgently trying to update reality. And during that frantic update, the tears just spill over. Your body is basically saying, wow, I didn't know this goodness was possible, and now I just can't keep it inside. And this brilliantly illustrates another huge concept. We attach meaning to journeys, not just isolated events. If we trace the timeline of a major achievement, like getting a big promotion, it isn't just a sudden change in job title.
That present moment carries the incredibly heavy layers of your past history. It carries the years of self-doubt, the late nights of financial stress, the constant need to prove yourself, and that stubborn refusal to quit. When you cry at that promotion, or maybe when you watch your child take their first steps, you aren't just crying for today. Those tears are a deeply physical way of honoring the sheer endurance it took for you to finally get there. This brings us to a really profound truth about the human experience. If you've been through hard things, you might actually find that you cry the hardest when something beautiful finally arrives. Pain doesn't cancel out your joy, it actually makes it sharper. The contrast between the darkness you survived and the light of the present moment can make that light feel absolutely blinding. Someone who's felt unseen for years will likely cry when they're finally recognized, because the contrast is just so staggering. Your past struggles completely validate your present tears. They carry both your memory of the dark and your immense gratitude for the light. But it's not always a major life event that triggers this. Sometimes happy tears are pulled from us by the unspoken, by art, music, film, or spiritual experience. Have you ever listened to a piece of music and suddenly felt your eyes well up? Or watched a scene in a movie that mirrored your own life so perfectly that it just broke you open? The body reacts before the mind can even find the words to explain why. In these situations, you're being touched by beauty and connection in a way that is literally larger than language. You cry because you suddenly feel seen by something bigger than yourself, and honestly, tears become the absolute only honest response. Let's move to and see how this builds biologically. Your body is playing a massive mechanical role here. First, you experience that intense emotion. Then, your autonomic nervous system, which is essentially your body's automatic control center for things like heart rate and breathing, goes into overdrive. It's carrying mixed signals of relief, excitement, and massive overstimulation. So what does the body do? It uses tears as a built-in pressure valve. It takes a massive, uncontainable feeling and physically discharges it so your system can regulate itself. This is exactly why you often feel a profound sense of calmness and cleansing after a happy cry. You've literally let the intensity move out of you instead of trapping it inside. And beyond our biology, there is a deeply social magic to this whole thing. We are heavily wired for connection. When you allow someone to see you cry tears of joy, you're letting your emotional walls down. You're proving to the people around you that you aren't pretending to be unaffected by life. This kind of authentic vulnerability is just incredibly magnetic. Have you ever noticed how when one person starts crying from joy at a wedding, suddenly half the room is wiping their eyes? Emotion is contagious when it's real. A happy tear reveals your authenticity and builds a bridge of trust between people far faster than 1,000 words ever could. So the crucial point is this. Society often tries to tell us that crying, even happy crying, is a sign of weakness, embarrassment, or breakage. We've all felt that awkwardness, right? Thinking, oh gosh, why am I crying? I should just be smiling right now. But in reality, crying is not a fragile glitch. It is absolute proof of your emotional depth. It means you aren't numb. In a world where people are constantly building walls to become emotionally hard, your tears are proof that your heart is still alive, responsive, and open enough to feel the full, beautiful weight of goodness. It takes true emotional courage to let joy overwhelm you. I want you to really take in this quote. Happy tears are the body's way of saying thank you to life itself. We are simply not built to walk through this world as emotionless, detached observers. We're built to feel things deeply and fully. So the next time you experience an incredible moment and you feel that familiar prickle behind your eyes, do not push it down. Do not be ashamed of it. Let those tears come. They aren't ruining the moment. They are proving how much the moment mattered. They are the ultimate expression of gratitude. Which leaves us with this final thought to reflect on as we wrap up this explainer. When was the last time you were brave enough to let your joy truly overflow? I really hope understanding the beautiful anatomy of a happy tear empowers you to stop holding back. Life is going to continue to surprise you with moments of profound beauty, relief, and love. And when it does, I hope you have the courage to let your body respond exactly as it was designed to. Thanks for learning with me today, and never forget the beautiful strength in feeling it all.